worrying people at the moment? Are they bothered by prices?
There's a number of factors. So we've got prices, which are being driven by the increase in components from Europe. One of the major problems this year is going to be powder. So with the Ukraine war going on, obviously they're soaking up a lot of powder, and shooting sports is at the bottom of the queue. Powder stocks at the moment are reasonable, but there is going to be a problem as we get into the game season.
Now, you were telling me something about the quantity of powder in a shell compared with cartridge. How does that work?
So, a 155mm tank shell has 6 kilograms of powder in it. So 6 kilograms of powder will do about 4,500 shotgun cartridges. But when you consider that the Ukrainians and the Russians are pinging 45,000 of those every day at each other, that is where the powder shortage is going to come from. And the increase in price, of course.
Yeah, of course. So, where are we with the prices on cartridges?
So the last price increase we had really was in February, March time of this year. Most manufacturers are fairly stable. I think we'll see Fiocchi and Express going up before the beginning of the game season. They didn't have an increase earlier in the year. So they're still looking like quite good value at the moment, but they're going to go up.
That's the thing to do rather than wait until the prices go up.
Exactly right. I mean, the price increases are not impacting the game side so much. I mean, your cartridges for a game day are pretty much going to be the cheapest part of your day. It's hitting the clay shooters hard, with the increase in the cost of living, higher interest rates, of course. It is getting expensive, no doubt about it.
Are there ways clay shooters can save a few bob and still enjoy the sport?
There are still budget loads available, but we're still talking about £275 1,000 starting price. It's got a lot more expensive over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and is that, I don't know whether you see it, but is that impacting the amount people shoot, do you think?
Definitely. So people who might have been shooting once a week are now shooting once a month, or they're only shooting 50 instead of 100, that sort of thing. People are cutting their cloth.
That's understandable. They will do. And there's a lot of talk about possible lead ban and all the rest of it. I mean, where are we on that one?
So where are we on that one? So the lead ban is 100% coming down the tracks at us. It's not as bad as it could be at the moment. So there will be a vote on the bill to put that into law towards the end of this year, but that doesn't mean that the legislation is going to be with us immediately. The legislation is going to take a couple of years at least to write and get into law. We're thinking about 2028 is where it's going to be. However, obviously we've got the game dealers to deal with. Some game dealers will only accept non-toxic shot, so you will be needing to check with your shoots where you're shooting, whether they're lead-free or still allowing lead.
Okay, and if I'm swayed by all this to switch to steel this season, what type of load should I be looking at for typical driven pheasant?
Really depends on the kind of gun you're using. There are now products available that are perfectly safe to put through older English side-by-side, so you need to be checking your chamber length, but there are 2.5-inch steel products for guns made after 1954. And then you basically need to be increasing your shot size by 1 or 2, so I'd be looking at using a 4-shot in maybe a 32 gram, which is a standard load. So again, you can put that through shotguns that are not proof for steel, although it is a 70mm cartridge, 2 3/4 inch. If you're unsure, you're going to have to use bismuth. 3 times the price, but it's perfectly safe through any gun.
Right. And with steel, we're still working with the restriction of nothing more than half choke, are we?
Okay, so it's a little bit more complicated than that. So for standard loads, you can use anything up to half choke maximum. High performance steel, there is now anecdotal evidence which suggests that quarter choke should be the maximum for a high performance load. But you've got to remember that steel does have some attributes. So steel has a lot more pellets for a given weight of shot. And it also patterns a lot better than lead because the pellets don't deform like they do with lead. So it does have some attributes. Up to 40 yards, you should be absolutely fine. A lot of the top shots who have been testing it, like Mr. Digweed, have suggested that they can't tell the difference up to 40 yards. 40 yards is still, a pretty good bird, quite frankly. But for longer stuff, you're going to be needing to use high performance steel, or as I say, bismuth if you're in doubt.
Right. So my old AYA side by side, in theory, I can just use a standard steel through it, and that should work fine.
If your chokes are half or less, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and for we're shooting fairly ordinary birds, but nothing terribly high. Certainly no more than 40 yards. So it should be all right.
It'll be absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But yes, we need to prepare. It is coming at us, but I think, the pressure is off for a few seasons yet.
Yeah,